What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's filthiest pitches of the day. I am Pitching Ninja, and I'm here with a very expectant Will Leahey. What's happening, Will? You're excited for today's games.
I am jacked up. The season is over, kinda. We got these. We got a lot of most of the season in the books here. Shohei went for 54 and 49. Judge ended with 58 jacks. Luis Ariz won his third straight batting title for 3 different teams somehow. Chuck Nasty retired. I think Scuba won the Triple Crown, and Sale should today. Which brings us to today, Ninja, because we got the biggest series of the season, and I'm hoping for a split here. I'd love to see both these teams get in, the Mets and the Braves. Hopefully Sale doesn't have to pitch so he can pitch in the playoffs. But Ninja, you looking forward to these games today?
I am very much looking forward to these games today. I was not excited about the outcomes yesterday. Let's go over those first, and then we'll talk about today's scenarios. So the outcomes yesterday were kind of the worst case scenario for the Atlanta Braves, with the Braves losing to the Royals 4-2. Charlie Morton had 3 Ks in 4 1/3 innings, giving up 4 runs. They were all on home runs. And yes, they do count, unfortunately.
Wow.
He did have these curveballs. He faced Alec Marsh, who was pretty good yesterday with 2 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 1 earned run and had this sweeper. On the flip side, the 2 teams that had a win did win to keep their chances alive. David Peterson was outstanding yesterday with 8 Ks and 7 scoreless innings, giving up only 1 hit as the Mets shut out the Brewers 5-0. He had this elevated 2-seamer, this changeup, this wicked back foot slider, and this curveball just came up so big in an important game for the Mets. And you know what? Big round of applause for David Peterson. I love to see that.
Peterson's start today is the kind of start where your teammates will forever look at you differently.
What do you mean by that?
You know, they know he has talent, but when it's on the line and you got to have it, and they know it and he knows it, and he delivers a performance like that, they look at you in a whole different light.
And in another enormous outing, Brandon Pfaadt had 9 Ks in 5 1/3 innings, giving up 1 earned run as the D-backs beat the Padres 11-2. He had this heater, these changeups, sweepers, and curveballs, and looked like postseason Brandon Pfaadt from last year, rounding into shape. And the only question is, will he get a chance to be in the postseason this year? And that's where we come to these playoff scenarios. I am hoping personally, as somebody that's rooting for the Braves to be in the postseason, first and foremost, the Braves win the first game in a doubleheader. They have Spencer Schwellenbach. Let's go the Schwellenbach, Texas. Salesy, Raylo, Fried, and the boys. Going today for them. I expect Schwellenbach to come up big. He's pitching against Tyler McGill, who can also really come up big on the flip side. Like this is going to be a good baseball game. And this is an interesting doubleheader because the team that wins the first game has absolutely no incentive whatsoever to win the second game. In fact, they have an incentive to pitch absolute dog shit. Right now, the second game of a doubleheader is set up to be Chris Sale versus Luis Severino. But all we know is that one of those guys is not going to pitch, and the other team is going to pitch their absolute worst pitchers. I want both these teams to make it. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but if I had my druthers, Braves win the first game, Mets win the second game, then we're done. Now on to the rest of the whip around the league. I'm just going to touch on games where there's either notable efforts or there was a pitcher that's going to pitch in the playoffs, or I just feel like talking about it. Aaron Nola had 7 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 3 runs as the Phillies beat the Nats 6-3. Had these change-ups and knuckle curves and looks ready for the postseason, as always. Clark Schmidt had 5 Ks in 4 innings, giving up 4 runs. The Yankees beat the Pirates 6-4. He had these cutter and knuckle curves, and not sure what role he'll have in the postseason, but his stuff is kind of nasty. Ryan Pepio ended his season with 5 Ks in 4 innings, giving up 1 earned run. These heaters and cutters. And I thought he finished this season strong, and I'm looking forward to him next year dominating.
And into the Sox took this game. They took the last 2 to finish 3rd in the AL East and finish at 500. It's their best record in the last 3 years. Listen, it's not a ton to write home about, Ninja, but, you know, I'll take it. It was a decent season. We're on the up and up. Next year, we're taking it down.
Hunter Greene had 3 Ks and 4 scoreless innings, giving up only 1 hit as the Reds shut out the Cubs 3-0. He had his elevated splitter as a ball called a strike and this elevated fastball. But my favorite pitch of this game was Hunter Greene throwing this fastball off the plate and then just walks off. He gave the umpire no choice but to call this a strike. Catcher framing is tired. Pitcher framing, totally wired. It's a badass move. Just walk off and dare the umpire to call this pitch a ball, which it actually was. Mr. Tambourine Man, Hayden Birdsong, was freaking ridiculous yesterday with 11 strikeouts in 4 1/3 innings. Did give up 3 runs. They had these fastballs, changeups, and sliders. Just ridiculous stuff from Mr. Tambourine Man. Will, if you got a strikeout for every out, how many strikeouts would that be in 4 1/3 innings?
4 1/3, that's 13.
And he had 11. This is the upside of what you're getting with Mr. Tambourine Man here. But still, the Cardinals won 6-1 because Michael McCreevy, no relation to the Pearl Jam guitarist, had 6 Ks in 8 innings, giving up 1 run on 5 hits. He had this 2-seamer on The Black, great Pearl Jam song. Also had this slider and curveball. And here's a pitch breakdown for him this game. He looked really good. Logan Gilbert was ridiculous yesterday with 7 strikeouts in 5 2/3 innings, giving up only 1 hit. He took a perfect game into the 6th inning. He had these fastballs up to 100.5 miles an hour, as well as these sliders and splitter. And yes, that 100.5 mile an hour fastball was the fastest of his career. He also finished the season with the most innings pitched in baseball with 208 2/3. He was 6th in strikeouts behind Tarek Skubal, Chris Sale, Zach Wheeler, Dylan Cease, and Cole Reagans. That's how good a season he had. He had the lowest whip among starting pitchers in baseball at 0.89, lower than everybody. And he had a losing record at 9-12. That shows you what wins and losses mean.
Yeah, it also shows you the Mariners need to get some bats.
Yeah, they definitely do. But the one thing that we had this year is I spoke 2 100-mile-an-hour pitches into existence with both Tarek Skubal and Logan Gilbert. After asking them if they'd ever touched 100, they both said no, and yet they did this season. I'd like to think it's because of me, but it had nothing to do with me. Now on to my filthiest relievers. Joe Boyle had these 100 and 101-mile-an-hour fastballs. Daysbel Hernandez had these sliders and fastball and picked up 5 Ks in 1 2/3 innings. Coming up huge for the Braves. Will, 5 Ks in 1 2/3 innings. What is that as a K per 9?
27.
You are right, Will. A 27 K per 9. Not sustainable. Grant Holmes had this slider and curveball. Cue the trumpets. Edwin Diaz had these sliders and picked up 3 Ks in a 9th. Seth Halverson had this 102-mile-an-hour fastball, and he may be the hardest throwing dude that probably no one pays attention to. Landon Knack had this changeup.
You know, Ninja, since you mentioned Knack, I would be remiss not to mention Sam Hilliard hitting the 4th longest dong of the year yesterday. 476. Yeah, it's in Colorado, but he absolutely pumped this ball up to the top deck, and a little shout out here. Dong of the day, actually.
Evan Phillips had these wicked sweepers, preparing to have a big role in this postseason. Michael Kopech stepped up again with this wicked cutter and overpowering fastball. Prepare to see Kopech dominate this postseason. And we're going to end these nasty, filthiest pitches today with Matt Waldron's knuckleball, the last knuckleball of the regular season. It brings a tear to my eyes. My top 5 filthiest pitches of the day yesterday. At number 5, Hunter Greene for just walking off on this fastball. I thought this was badass. At number 4, Mr. Tambourine Man and his K-Fest. At number 3, Brandon Pfaadt for coming up huge for the D-backs. At number 2, David Peterson coming up huge for the Mets. And at number 1, Logan Gilbert, just a huge man. I've stood next to him, Will. He's a big dude. Is he not?
He is, but is that why he's on here? Just his general size?
He's on here because he hit 100.5 miles an hour. That's why he's on here, Will. Has nothing to do with his size, though he does have really massive hands. And now, my pitching ninja moment of Zen. I feel like the Twins were trolling everybody with the pitchers they rolled out yesterday, just summing up their entire season. It's over. They blew it. My picks of the day today, I'm going to take Tyler McGill for 4 Ks or more, then take Spencer Schwellenbach for 6 Ks or more, take Marcell Ozuna to have 1 or more hits, and take the Braves to win. What would your picks of the day be?